Hey there, and welcome back to Recap Mania. Today, I'm going to explain the movie Landmine Goes Click to you. Spoilers ahead. So, sit tight and let's get going. Landmine Goes Click is a 2015 Georgian thriller film directed by Levan Bakia. The film stars Spencer Locke, Sterling Knight, Dean Geyer, and Kote Torladava. The movie tells the story of an American tourist who is forced to watch helplessly as his girlfriend is assaulted by a local man after he steps on an unexploded landmine. The sun rose over the breathtaking Caucasian mountains, illuminating the towering peaks and lush green valleys. Alicia and Daniel, a newly engaged couple, were eager to explore the remote wilderness with their friend Chris. They had been planning the hiking tour for months and were thrilled to finally set foot on the rugged terrain. As they trekked deeper into the wilderness, the trio encountered a park ranger named Devi, who greeted them warmly and chatted with them for a while. Devi was a friendly and knowledgeable guide who had been working in the area for years, and the group felt reassured by her presence. One morning, while admiring the breathtaking scenery, Devi offered to take a photo of the trio in front of a majestic waterfall. They posed for the photo, unaware of the danger lurking beneath their feet. Suddenly, Chris stepped on a landmine hidden in the grass, triggering a panicked reaction from Devi. Devi cautioned Chris not to move his foot or risk detonating the explosive device. Realizing that they were in a dire situation, Devi decided to leave the trio and seek help, as there was no cell phone reception in the remote area. With a heavy heart, Devi bid them farewell and departed. As Devi watched the unfolding events from a distant hilltop, Daniel received a phone call on his cell phone. During the conversation, Daniel revealed to Alicia that he knew she had slept with Chris, and called her a derogatory name. Shocked and hurt by Daniel's revelation, Alicia tried to reason with him and help Chris. However, to her horror, Daniel disclosed that he was responsible for the deception and had planned the entire situation as a means of revenge against both Alicia and Chris. Frustrated and desperate, Alicia tried to convince Daniel to think logically and help Chris, but to no avail. Despite her best efforts, Daniel left both Alicia and Chris to their fate and vanished with Devi, who was complicit in the scheme. Devi had been in on the plan all along, and her actions had been part of Daniel's elaborate scheme to exact revenge on his fiancée and their friend. Alicia and Chris were left stranded, alone and terrified with no help in sight. As they grappled with their dire predicament, they could only hope for a miracle to save them from the landmine and the ruthless plan that had been hatched against them. As Alicia frantically searched for a way to free Chris from the landmine without harming or decapitating him, they were unexpectedly approached by a hunter named Ilya and his loyal canine companion. Initially, Ilya was skeptical of the situation, believing that it was a staged performance. However, after hearing their story, he realized the gravity of the situation and the danger they were facing. Sadly, Ilya chose to use their predicament to his advantage and subjected Alicia to sadistic games in exchange for his help. Ilya demanded that Alicia undress as a form of payment, causing her to feel degraded and violated. It became apparent that Ilya was shamelessly exploiting their vulnerable situation for his own twisted pleasure. Determined to escape, Alicia attempted to flee, but her efforts were in vain. Tragically, Ilya raped her, further exacerbating the already dire circumstances. Meanwhile, Chris remained standing on the landmine, desperately trying to come up with a plan. In a moment of bravery, Chris grabbed Ilya's shotgun and aimed it at him, hoping to end their nightmare. However, Ilya's dog attacked Chris, causing him to fire the weapon accidentally. The gunshot left Chris wounded on the ground, lying next to the unexploded landmine. Ilya then revealed to Chris that they had been tricked by his friend and that the mine would detonate if the fuse was triggered. The realization of their inevitable fate left Chris in tears as he lay next to the lifeless body of Alicia, a victim of the relentless events that had transpired. After the tragic events in the mountains, Chris finds himself alone and lost in Georgia. Desperate for directions, he approaches a small town where he meets Tanya and her young daughter Laika. The two women offer him help and even invite him to join them for dinner. As they share a meal, Tanya's husband, Ilya, unexpectedly returns home, causing Chris to become visibly tense and nervous. Despite this tension, Ilya offers to give Chris a ride in his car. In a private conversation, Ilya and Chris arrange a meeting to settle their differences like men. However, the situation quickly takes a turn for the worse when Chris injures Ilya's dog and uses it to gain entry back into their home. As Tanya, Laika, and Chris tend to the injured animal, Ilya joins them, and Chris shoots him in both thighs with a revolver. Ilya lies motionless on the sofa, and Laika is forced to tie up her own mother. Seizing the opportunity, Chris begins to play sadistic games with Laika, much to the despair and pleading of her parents. The game ultimately culminates in a game of Russian roulette, tragically resulting in Laika's death from a gunshot to the head. Chris is left alone, sitting in a corner of the living room, crying and shattered by the events that had transpired. The devastating consequences of Chris's actions weigh heavily on him, as he is forced to confront the realization that his revenge has come at a steep price. The once beautiful mountains and landscapes of Georgia have now been forever tainted by the horrors that had unfolded. The film is a suspenseful thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The acting is top-notch and the story is gripping. The film is also a powerful commentary on the human condition. It's a story about survival, love, and redemption. The acting is top-notch. Spencer Locke and Sterling Knight give powerful performances as Chris and Alicia. They bring a lot of emotion to their roles, and they make the audience care about them. The story is gripping, the film is full of suspense, and it will keep you on the edge of your seat. You'll be rooting for Chris and Alicia to survive, and you will be holding your breath as they try to escape from David. As a matter of fact, the film is a powerful commentary on the human condition. It's a story about survival, love, and redemption. It's a film that will stay with you long after you've seen it. It's set in Georgia, a country that has a long history of conflict. The landmine that Chris steps on is a reminder of the violence that has plagued the country for so long. The film also explores the themes of love and redemption. Chris and Alicia are able to overcome their differences and come together in the face of adversity. They are able to find love and redemption, even in the darkest of times. The film is a powerful reminder that even in the most difficult of circumstances, there's always hope. So with that, this movie recap has come to an end here. Let us know if you are intrigued to watch the movie after seeing our recap in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more recaps. Till then, goodbye.